Adventures of Sonic Episode 53. Honey, I Shrunk the Hedgehog. Oh, just like an Archie, only with a smaller cast, but the plot will last longer. Scratch and Grounder are helping Robotnik make a shrinking device. Why would he trust them with invention making? After Worthless Filler, where Grounder's treated like dirt, Robotnik plans to shrink people and put them in a city, force them to give him their natural resources, and dominate Mobius. I like that he said that the more complicated his schemes get, the harder they are to say in one breath.
Ooh. The more complicated my schemes get, the harder they are to say in one breath. Oh.
Again, he should have succeeded in this plan halfway into the show. He'd be an actual threat that I'd care about being taken down instead of a minor nuisance. After Sonic tries to train miners who are wearing blue spine hats and red shoes because he has an ego like Eggman, Robotnik wants coal. Scratch zaps his laser to a satellite and it gets reflected over to the mining town to shrink it and send it to the glass dome of Robotnik's. This is the kind of plot I would have expected to have happened in the Archie Sonic issue where there was a cover where Eggman was staring at a glass dome. Robotnik demands the miners to give him their natural resources so he can unshrink them later. Obviously Sonic can't spin dash through the plastic dome because that'd end the episode too early. Then everyone else joins forces to spin dash it as well. Sonic can spin dash through a metal door just fine, but plastic is too much. I guess being shrunken magically comes with the side effect of his spin dash sucking. An oil truck is unshrunken from the city and there's more to come. Surprisingly, everyone escapes the city already. How are regular non-hedgehog people able to spin dash anyways? Tails flies Sonic around and they get stuck in a spider web. Is it that every time characters are shrunken ever, they get threatened by a spider? It happened in Fleetway, though not in Archie. Sonic spin dashes out of the web, odd since he's not even able to sit up, and Tails' tails are too gummed up from the sticky web. Even though someone would have to intentionally tie web around the tails for that to happen. Instead of Sonic untying Tails' tails, Robotnik spots them with binoculars and tries to stomp on them. I guess he got more genre savvy and realized it's stupid to keep them alive in a dungeon to gloat at them, so instead he wants them dead. The robots go after the heroes with Scratch having a super zoom camera and Grounder having a radar and metal detector. Sonic tricks the robots into running into each other, spin dashes around to somehow make Scratch spin around himself and go into the floor, and Grounder sends a weird lizard after Tails out of nowhere, which tries to eat Tails. Sonic saves him, complains about lizard breath, and ties his tongue around and flings him back into the bottle. Then Robotnik threatens him with a vacuum. Sonic is sucked into it because since he's small, he traverses less distance over the same period of time, which is why he didn't get to the shrink ray already. The heroes sneeze from the vacuum dust, and Sonic makes something sharp stick out to pinch Robotnik's nose from the bag. And they fly away on a piece of duct tape, landing on the shrink device that... Okay, at least it makes sense it has a reverse button since Robotnik has been unshrinking natural resources with it. Robotnik threatens to shake the city, so Robotnik puts Sonic and Tails in a test tube and traps them near a rat. Sonic willingly gives up, but his expression is so blank. The miners decide to help Sonic, digging through the ground to escape the table with ropes. They shoot grappling hooks to climb up to Sonic. Why aren't these guys freedom fighters? And after a subversion where the miners fail to push over the test tube, Sonic says to tie the rope to the rat so he can pull the test tube over. Sonic runs in the test tube with Tails to roll it around and it falls into Scratch's hands. If it broke, wouldn't the glass pieces of it hurt Sonic? Sonic pretends that he can't hear Scratch to make him open up the test tube and let him free. The heroes get surrounded by the villains who hold fly swatters, but the miners are riding the rat's back. Fortunately, the rat doesn't try to kill them or eat them, but mercifully runs away, which is totally unrealistic, and magically lets the miners bite Robotnik's feet. Why did Robotnik even have a pet rat? He's evil and hates animals. You'd think he just threatened them with a robot instead. Sonic and Tails, as I predicted would happen eventually, run around the robots' bodies, but surprisingly they also go inside their brains and take over their brains with just a lever way too easily that shouldn't be there, as there's a mind control override that only a tiny person could activate, and Sonic talks with the microphone to them. So Grounder is made to drill at Robotnik, and Scratch is made to punch him in the face overly tamely and puts a balloon over his head. Then Scratch is made to use a comb to help return the miners to the city, and Grounder is made to reverse the effects of the shrink ray on the heroes, who get out of the robots and save the city, fortunately returning it to its rightful place. Though that would have demolished Robotnik's fortress from the building expanding back to normal size inside of it. It's a shame. I love seeing Scratch and Grounder bothering Robotnik. Like, this should have happened in the finale, but they just had to be Sonic and Tails controlled. Like, that would have been a great finale, the two robots turning on him. After Robotnik is shrunken and threatened by a weird monster out of nowhere, the Sonic Says message is about Sonic telling the miners to recycle and not trash the environment. This is probably the third time we've had an environmental message, when normally it's SAD-AM that's dedicated to it. Just have Robotnik be the industrialist villain then. Archie was able to mix the two types of plans just fine. Same goes for Fleetway from what I can remember. This was an entertaining episode where the heroes are shrunken because a mining town is brought to a glass dome Robotnik's fortress so he can rob them of natural resources. And they run all over his lab, not traversing much distance since they're small. Why did Robotnik even have a pet rat anyways? And why would there be levers in the robot's brains that only shrunken people will be able to flip anyways in a wide open space room? Are those levers built for nanobots to use? And how did the miners of all people do spin dashes? The plot was pretty convenient for the heroes, and some things didn't make sense. But I loved the ending where Scratch and Grounder are taking over to bother Robotnik, even if it made little sense, as it's not like Tails reprogrammed them himself. It felt creative, the variety of situations Sonic was put in, aside from the getting caught in a spiderweb cliche, which happened in Fleetway too.